529. I'd say pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get started. Tonight we're starting with a public meeting on the 25-26 budget.
Yep, there's two things that later on we will certify. First is that we're informing the public of the maximum we can spend from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026. In instruction, $17,015,000. Total support services, $10,492,000. Instructional support programs, $975,000. Total other expenditures, $3,952,000, and total expenditures of a little over $36 million. I'm going to show that line right here, total resources. You'll see that for 25 and 24, those are much higher. We really haven't reduced our budget, $14 million. That's just the field house being reflected in those other 2 years. So this year's an accurate reflection of that. The other thing that we'll certify is our tax rate. And we continue to have 3 different tax rates in the district. The former Algona district, a tax rate of $9.93. The former Laverne district, $9.76. And the former Titanca district, $11.21. And again, that we'll have 3 different tax rates for 1 more year when the debt service levy of $1.27 for Titanca goes away, then we'll all be back to a single tax rate.
Okay. I know we've all been through this a few times. Is there any questions from the board at this point? We'll talk about it again later in the agenda. Any questions from the public that are here? All right, hearing none, we will close then this public meeting. What do we got, 5:32, we'll say? Or you want to? Yeah, we'll go 5:32, something like that. All right. We'll get ready to open our regular meeting. We'll stand with the Pledge of Allegiance. If everybody would please join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum here. I don't see any hearing in delegations, so we need to approve our agenda. A motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thanks, Andrea. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Thanks, Jay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved. Communications to the board tonight. We have a science fair presentation.
Yeah.
I believe they are here.
Okay. I'm Megan Rasmussen, and I'm a co-director of the science fair with Holly Waltz. And we're here just to share a little bit of information about the success we've had in science fair this year. So I want to give you guys a little bit of background information about our science fair and where we started and where we're going. So science fair has been part of the Algona schools for over 50 years. And Holly Waltz and myself co-direct it. We could co-direct the local middle school science fair and advise our high school science fair students, okay? In recent years, we have seen growth in our local program that has led to success at the state and international levels. This year, over 100 middle school students participated in our fair at the beginning of February with the help of over 30 community volunteers to judge their projects. Of those students, 37 were selected to go to our state science fair, and many of them won awards, several first places in their categories. 31 of the 37 students we took in middle school won some sort of award. And one of our students, our 8th grade student, Kaylee Nemmers, she actually placed in the top 8 projects out of 396 projects.
Wow.
So our strong middle school science fair has really helped build us a strong high school program. And this year we had 10 students participate in our high school program, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when we start thinking about what the high school students do, they do their science fair project all outside of school time. It requires many hours of research, finding mentors in their field, building procedures, testing and analyzing their data. And many of their projects rival college level research. And you'll hear about some of their projects today, and you will probably agree. So in the first time, over 20 years, Algona schools have not one, but 2 students selected for the prestigious International Science Fair held in Columbus, Ohio this year, May 11th through May 16th. These 2 students were given an all-expense-paid trip, and only 15 students from the state of Iowa are chosen, and those students are Emerson Waltz and Abby Lampy, and they will present their project against 1,800 students from 80 different countries. To earn one of these spots, they had to outcompete 229 high school projects. So we were 2 of the 15 out of 229 possibilities. In addition to that, we also have a 9th grade or a freshman ISEF observer, and in order to get that position, you had to be one of the top freshman projects in the state. So I think there's 8 of those going, 8 or 9? 7. 6 are going, so we have 1 of 6. So if we start putting those numbers together, 21 students will be going to Columbus, and 3 of them will be representing Algona. And we like to really sell our message when we're there, because a lot of our support we also get from the foundation. So we always sell the message of the foundation, and then we always sell the message that we're a public school from Iowa, a rural, small town in northern Iowa, and we are competing against some of the best in the world. And so we like to sell that message. The other thing is, the accolades don't stop there. Riley, who's here as well tonight, she was selected to go to the Genius Olympiad in Rochester, New York, which is another international fair. She will be competing against over 1,000 students from 64 different countries, and that will be in June. And of our 10 projects, our high school projects, 9 of them had received some sort of placement or scholarships while at State Science Fair. When Emerson and Abby go to the International Science Fair, they will compete for scholarships and grand prize placements of $100,000. So when you start seeing national news, CNN, Fox News, all of those places, they'll all report out on the ISEF winning. It usually makes headlines, and that's because the prizes are big money. So we hope just to show up and compete, and then any recognition is just icing to the cake. So tonight, we have Emerson Waltz and Riley Scheckinger here to talk about their experience at Science Fair, but I wanted to talk about Abby Lampy and Olivia Snyder's project. They weren't able to come today, but Abby's project, her project is investigating piperine as a non-synthetic efflux pump inhibitor to restore antibiotic sensitivity in Staphylococcus aureus. You can help me out with that if I got that wrong. So her project really is, I'm going to read a little bit from it just because it's pretty intense. She's studying or investigating the ability of piperine, which is a plant-derived bioactive compound. It comes from, well, it makes pepper, but it comes from that plant. And it's to function as a non-synthetic efflux pump inhibitor in combination with fluorescently tagged pyromycin against Staphylococcus aureus. And so she basically, from my understanding, is injecting piperine with antibiotics to try to reduce the amount of antibiotics you would need to kill a bacteria. So she's working on antibiotic resistance and trying to find ways to have the antibiotic that we take currently go farther. So that's her project. And at State Science Fair, she placed first in her microbiology, and then she placed in the top, was it 8, 7? Sorry, top 15?
Yeah, well, she was one of the ISEF.
So one of the ISEF of the top 15 at the state. So she did very well down there. And then Olivia, her project is a continuation from her last year's project, where she is trying to find ways to, everybody takes probiotics, and her last year's Science Fair project showed that most of the probiotics we take, it doesn't actually get through the acid in our stomach and grow. And so this year she used different types of capsules that our probiotics come in, like gelatin capsules, what are the other types of capsules? Vegetarian capsule. So basically ways to take probiotics with the capsule to see if it could go through your stomach acid and be able to grow in your intestine. So hers is basically about probiotics. So tonight, we'll have, who wants to present first? Emerson? Emerson is a senior, and she will talk a little bit about what Science Fair has done for her and maybe a quick summary of her project.
So my project this year is optimizing catalysts for the hydrogenolysis of polyethylene. So basically, for the past 2 years, I've been working with Professor Aaron Sena from the Department of Chemistry at Iowa State University, and we're working to turn plastic waste, like grocery bags and water bottles that we all use every day, turning all that plastic into fuel. So fuel that's actually cleaner than what we're using right now, and also cheaper. I've proven that this fuel will cost around $2 per gallon when it's scaled up. And if you know anything about chemistry, there's no aromatic compounds in this fuel, which means that there's no toxins or carcinogens. The only really byproduct would be carbon emissions, which we see from every fuel source, but it is proven to be cleaner and to qualify as a fuel. This year I was really focusing on improving it by selecting what catalyst would be the most efficient and cost-effective fuel. So from science fair as a freshman, I was an observer like Olivia is now to ISEF, and after going to ISEF, that really made me want to work to go back. So junior year, I was able to go to the Genius Olympiad, which Riley's going to this year. And when I went to Genius, I got a silver medal award, which I don't think anyone from Iowa has ever placed there. So that was really exciting. And then this year, to make it back with a continuation of that project to ISEF this time is really exciting. Science fair has also really helped me figure out what I wanted to do for college and a career, because working with Iowa State, my mentor there in the lab, he was a chemical engineer, so he was able to convince me to go into chemical engineering and not go to Iowa State. So that pushed me to apply to out-of-state schools, where I then committed to Purdue for engineering.
Okay.
Great.
Thanks, Emerson.
So my name is Riley Scheckinger. I'm a sophomore, and my project this year was looking at arsenic levels in private well waters. I asked people from around Sioux County if I could test their wells, who have not had their wells tested in over a year due to the fact that Iowa offers free private well testing through the state. And so I was looking to see if I can find correlation between like where high arsenic levels could possibly pop up. I looked at like the well depth, how old the well is, the elevation of the wells, and even at sulfate levels, because the sulfate levels is supposed to lead to higher arsenic levels. None of the correlations that I found were super strong, but I'm thinking that's because I didn't have a large enough land area, so I'm turning it on the fact that there is something going on with high arsenic levels, but I'm not sure what it is yet. So it's bringing awareness to why this is important, and that more people should be getting their well tested sooner, because a lot of the people that I talked to didn't know that they should be getting their wells tested, and the people who did have their wells tested had results that they did not want to find out. They weren't good, but it's helping them solve the problem and hopefully increase their well water quality to be drinking safer water. As a freshman last year, I was able to be an observer at ISEF. That was a really good experience because I was able to meet a lot of different people and just like expand the view of science. Like here you think it's just like biology, chemistry, general science. There's so many different categories of science, stuff you haven't even heard of. Just really broaden your science world. And then this year I'm going to Genius Olympiad. I'm hoping to meet some more good people, make lifelong friends, and hopefully eventually get to present at ISEF, but we're working our way up.
Any questions?
Thanks, Riley.
Yeah.
How long a process did you take to narrow down to specifically what category, or how did you come about part of I wanted to study how I could take plastics and turn them into fuel?
So I think the end of my sophomore year, I hadn't really done anything. I worked with plastics in the past, but not that. I actually read an article by, I think, the New York Times. They had said, like, hey, what if we were able to turn our garbage into a fuel source? And I'm really into chemistry, so the first thing I did was look up the chemical structure of plastic and the chemical structure of fuel, like diesel. And they're actually the same compound, just different sizes. So fuel's a lot smaller than plastic. So then I just have to figure out how do I break down straight chain hydrocarbons into smaller alkanes. and that process is called hydrogenalysis. It's actually very simple. And then I found a professor at Iowa State that was doing something similar. I wasn't able to kind of identify that based off of their profiles, but I could kind of figure they were doing something with waste products and they like clean energy. So I said, I'll reach out to this one. And it actually turned out to work really well.
And I would say all of our high school kids that end up doing science fair end up doing something in a STEM field. So it's really encouraging them to go on and make that their career. Just opening up the idea. You know, most of our kids don't get a lot of science till they're in middle school. So then they're able to see like, hey, I don't really know a lot about this, and they can learn so much from the projects. Take it from there.
And it's interesting, they'll start with one and then it just kind of takes them down a rabbit hole of another one. And even 1 year to the next year, they might not necessarily relate. I mean, Riley's project last year was on
How essential oils can actually help kill bacteria.
So she kind of did that, and we decided we didn't want to do the microbiology route this year. So then, sometimes they come and then we meet, and I'll talk to them about ideas and things they're interested in, and then I'll do some researching, they'll do some researching. We'll do some mentoring, reaching out. Like Abby Lampy, she listened to a speaker last year at Science Fair about microbiology and antibiotic resistance, and then so she followed up and reached out to that individual, and she's been in conversation with him, and he works for the CDC, and so things like that. And then really at the high school level, we'll lead them as far as we can, and then we also try to get that mentor in there that's specialized in that field, because it's pretty precise. And science fair is becoming kind of big money at state, international level, because families are finding it as a way to get their kids into some Ivy League schools, so they're willing to pay for outside mentors, outside people to help support them. And so for us to even be able to compete is always exciting, because we don't have a University of Iowa, and we don't have an Iowa State in our backyard. And so our kids have to do what they can with what we have there.
Megan, you mentioned this briefly, but mention it again. When you guys go to these large competitions like ISF and Olympiad, it's not necessarily, you know, we're really not competing against a lot of other public schools like us, right? So explain what that looks like.
Yeah, do you want me to
Sure.
Okay. So yeah, like we've been doing this for I think 7, 8 years now, and meet random instructors, teachers, and they're always like, "Where are you from?" Or a lot of times they're like, "What, you know, private school are you from?" Or "What magnet school are you from?" Because when you start talking to them, a lot of their students are from just a STEM school. Like that's all they do there. When you start doing international level, wow. Because there is money being pumped into those academies, and they're, you know, and that's the top of the top. So it's always a fun conversation. Not only a conversation of them trying to figure out where Iowa is, but then the next conversation is that, you know, we're a public school. We're, you know, yeah.
And what's cool for us is we're able to do this because of the foundation. The foundation recognizes that this is a need for our kids to go above and beyond, and they fund a lot of their from here on opportunities that they have.
And that's what's always quite amazing, is because we'll talk about the foundation, and even those private schools do not have a foundation like our public school.
Right.
And so they're always shocked by that.
Yep. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for all your dedication. We'd ask more questions, but I don't know that.
No.
I didn't understand most of it to begin with.
Really, probably
It
didn't.
sounded really good.
Make fuel cheaper.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's called chunking it down, making it feel cheaper.
Esther, well.
All right, we'll continue to move on then. The next would be our consent items. You should have all received those in your packet. I believe Lisa put also a few extra bills here in front of you tonight, so.
All financials are routine for the month?
No? And so if you've had a chance to look them over, and if you don't have any questions, we need a motion then to approve our consent items.
Make a motion to approve the consent items.
Thank you, Tom. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Lanny. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent items approved. We'll go into the superintendent's report.
Yep, little legislative review for us. And we've went through the second funnel, so things will really start to slow down. The big Senate file that I'll talk about is Senate File 167. It was passed by the Senate last Monday afternoon, and then the House the following Tuesday. That bill provided 2% increase in SSA, which is our per pupil amount. So our per pupil amount's going up $157 to almost $8,000. It increases the district cost per pupil for districts on the low end. That $7,988, you would think it's the same for every district, but it's not. So they're trying to close that gap and make it so the per pupil amount is the same, and they do that every year by adding $5 or $10 to the lowest ones to bring that together. Also, it increases the appropriation of transportation equity. That's always important for us. Transportation equity is as we travel a long ways to pick up people, it's something that helps balances our transportation budget and increases operational sharing cap from 21 to 25 students, which is a lot. So there's operational sharing opportunities if you share like a special ed coordinator, like we do with Mr. Heiser, or lots of other positions in your district, and you can get up to 25 students to do that. 2% is disappointing. Our costs certainly are going up higher than 2%. One-time funding dollars that was in the House also did not happen, which was disappointing because we felt that was something that would benefit our staff and our employees. 2% is below CPI, below current inflation. Legislators, you'll hear them talk about 2.8%. We know they crunch numbers a little differently than we do, but that would be the statement on that. Enrollment, ask the principals to review our enrollment a little bit in April in comparison to September. I think that gives us a good idea of possibly where we're headed into for next year. Our high school was down 4, which is really a pretty good number for our high school in April. Middle school is up 9, which is certainly a surprise and a welcome one. Lucia Wallace was down 5. Bryant was exactly the same. Our 3-year-olds were up 1. Our 4-year-olds down 1. Prep up 5. Kindergarten down 10. Some of those are the same kids. Sometimes we'll have some kindergarten who will go to prep and vice versa. Overall, the district we're -5. So again, that's not a bad dipstick of looking at our attendance for moving into next year.
All right, any questions for Joe? All right, we'll continue to move on then to our administrative report. And tonight we have Mr. Cecil here for the high school.
I most enjoyed the middle of Emerson's answer to you. She said, well, it's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Seems simple.
Yeah.
Seems simple. All right, we were about 1 month away from graduation time. May 18th, 2 o'clock is graduation day. This year's motto for the seniors is how lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. That's a Winnie the Pooh quote. So good quote by them. And I have 123 students on the list in front of you. Pending final completion of all credits, I look for an approval to award some diplomas to them.
Is that the biggest class we've ever had for a long time?
It certainly seems like it.
In all of our financial forecasts that we've talked about, we have built those on a -20 certified enrollment last year. That's the reason why. 123 going out, we don't have 123 coming in.
I make a motion to approve the graduation list.
Thank you. Andrea, do we have a second?
A second.
Thanks, Jay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Graduation list approved upon finishing all the
Completion of all credits.
credits.
Very
Yep.
good. Also, as always, looking to figure out who else might be on the stage to help with that process. And
I'll plan to be there.
I'll nominate Jay.
then Jake can
His
be.
kid's graduating.
Oh, that's right, he's got a graduate.
Does that mean he
Perfect.
gives a speech too?
No, I don't give a speech.
Well, it's a good nomination, try,
I
Brian.
think you should.
I think I can help hand out diplomas or whatever it is.
Very good. You don't have to decide tonight, but that's.
There's a motion on the floor.
It died for a lack of second, I guess.
Very good. I'll shoot out
Yeah.
the quote again to whoever's speaking or writing. I'll just send it to you, and if it's not you, you can pass it along.
Good.
Very good.
Congratulations to the
And
seniors.
besides Jay and I mean, we'd love to have the board members attend and proceed in with the
Absolutely.
staff
If you're
as
not
we
on
have in the
stage and
past.
would like to sit with the faculty, that's a welcome invite into those reserved rows as well.
Yep. So please, if you can, be there
Yep.
also.
Very good.
Thanks,
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Jared. All right, let's see here. We're going to go into old business. We got second readings.
Yep, second readings. First, financial accounting system, it's now called the Governmental Accounting Practices and Regulations. It rescinds policy 80111, changes it to 70104. Second change is with capital assets. We need to update the paragraph limit from $3,500 to $5,000, which is our auditor's recommendation to do that. Those are the changes on this second reading of these policies.
Okay. If we have no further discussion, we need a motion then to approve the second readings.
So moved.
Thanks, Jay. Do we have a second?
Second the motion.
Thanks, Tom. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Second reading's approved. Also looking to do a first and second readings of the policies 103, long-range needs assessment.
Yeah, this is a policy that should be reviewed annually. That has slipped through. It hasn't been reviewed annually for us. Last was in 2020. There are no changes to the policy. It's as we typically do. We involve our community. We do that through the SIAC process to look at some of our data and even make proposals if needed. We do need this policy for our desk audit. That's how the Department of Ed reviews some of our policies and classes we teach and schedule that we use and so on. So this policy was part of the desk audit this year to be reviewed, which is why we need the first and second reading.
That we can approve tonight, correct?
We can.
I make a motion to approve first and second reading of policy 103.
Thank you, Andrea. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Lan. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? First and second readings approved. Okay, looking to approve the FY26 budget.
So the budget's been presented on two dates. We presented it on March 21st. We also presented it on April 14th. The tax rate for FY26 is $10, it's 10.02 is what we say. Remember, when I showed that in the public hearing, but no one's tax rate will be 10.02. That's the blended rate. The former Algona's rate is $9.93. The former Laverne's rate is $9.76. And the former Titonka's rate is $11.20. The difference in those, Titonka still has a general obligation bond that they're paying, which will expire in 2027. Laverne's uniform levy, which in year one was $1 below the 540 to 440, and then ours gets changed to the same dollar amount, not the same rate. So that's the difference between ours, R2, and then those both will become 540 after next year, and we'll have the same rate. So it is confusing with the three different tax rates, but something we'll get through in the next couple of years. Also, we're approving total expenditures, which I mentioned previously. Instruction, a little over $17 million. Total support services, a little over $10,400,000. Non-instructional programs, $975,000. total other expenditures of $3,952,000, and total expenditures of over $36 million. And again, when you look at total expenditures in comparison to previous years, the previous years are much larger, around $50 million. That's due to the field house dollars coming through as part of that project and that process. So the $36 million is certainly more accurate of annual expenditures.
All right. Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we need a motion then to approve the FY26 budget as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the FY26 budget.
Thank you, Jay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, thanks, Andrew. We have a motion and a second. No, I asked, but any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Budget approved. Looking to approve a budget guarantee, which we've done for many years.
Yeah, the district is not currently on budget guarantee, but this is a procedure that's done annually in the event that the district would qualify. There's a resolution that we need to pass that the Board of Directors of the Algona Community School District will levy property taxes for fiscal year 25-26 for the regular program budget adjustment as allowed. So it was saying if we would qualify for a budget guarantee, which is 101% of the dollars you had the year before, that other 1% comes from property tax. Is where that happens. We are not on the budget guarantee for next year.
Just good practice.
Just good practice to
When
make
does a
sure.
budget guarantee kick in? When we lose students?
Yes, so next October, we do our certified enrollment. Maybe we drop 20, like we said. If the state funding, like we just talked about, the 2%, if that 2% didn't get you above what you had the previous year, then budget guarantee kicks in to give you 1% more than you had the previous year. And to get you that amount, that's a property tax. So oftentimes, for taxpayers, it's cheaper if the SSA goes higher so that local property taxes don't kick in for budget guarantee. Because if your SSA amount takes you over what you had the year before, then there is no budget guarantee and there is no increase on the local property taxes to produce that.
Unless we drop 200 students, a private school opened up in town.
Yeah, then,
Student.
yeah, and
Then it would be.
then there's a lot to make up
Yeah.
in that case, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. We were on budget guarantee year before. After the 1 year after reorganization, we were on budget guarantee. But once again, the SSA amount increased enough to get us beyond the 101%. Just a safeguard, and like Mr. Cecil just said, we 123 seniors going out and not 123 kindergarten coming in. What has happened to our district over the last year is there's a lot in between though. There's a lot of things that happen in between, a lot of movement in, could happen again. That's why we wanted to count. I would say our numbers reflect that has happened, that we've had kids move in. We naturally have a decline that happens. So being closer to where we are is probably a good sign for that.
So do I have to read that statement, or?
Do we have, yeah, I was just gonna
It's always
ask that
good
too.
practice to read
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Resolved that the Board of Directors of Algona Community School District will levy property taxes for fiscal year 25-26 for the regular program budget adjustment as allowed under Section 257-14 Code of Iowa.
Very good.
Thank you, Todd. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks. Brent, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Just a regular or a roll call? What's that?
Roll call.
Roll call, okay. Go ahead.
Wajdi,
Yes.
Owen,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Limbaugh,
Yes.
Mitchell,
Yes.
Nugent,
Yes,
Kinsey.
Yes.
We approve the budget guarantee.
Very good.
All right. Looking to approve Association of Educators tentative agreement.
Yep, this is with our Teachers Association. Initial proposals were exchanged and agreed upon. Rodney was with me for that process. The base wages would be increased $2,500. The minimums increase, so they need to be increased $2,500. So a BA is $50,000. That's the minimum that we can pay a full-time teacher. The second part of the agreement is $2,250 will be added to the extra duty base wage, which is the generator for like coaching contracts, for example, which are a percent of that extra duty base wage. Third agreement is a $2,250 increase for all teachers, which is a 3.14% increase. Some language changes. The change is in the blue italics.
Can I ask, so the increase is a total expenditure to our school of a 3.1%?
Total salary, total benefit package increase of 3.14%.
Because like if you add, so if somebody's making $50,000.
Yep.
And you add $2,250, that's a 2% increase on their salary.
Yeah, so this is with everything included when we take all of our people and raise them $2,250 or to the minimum, whichever is more. With FICA, IPERS, and insurance, which insurance is a 0% increase, which pulls that percent down, it's a 3.14% total package increase. So that's total expenditures.
Total package per person or per?
Total. It's a 3.14 total.
District-wide?
District-wide for all teachers. Okay. Including, all things included in the master contract, which would also be the supplemental contracts for coaching. All of those will increase 3.14%.
So some teachers are seeing a bigger increase than others?
Percentage-wise.
Percentage-wise.
Yeah, percentage-wise, yeah.
So somebody who's making $100,000 a year is seeing a less percentage
Yeah,
increase?
because everyone's getting $2,250. Yes. Good question. In the language change is in the blue and italics. Previously, a teacher could not take a personal day during a professional development in-service day, such as before school starts. We've run into problems with parents taking their kids to college, moving into college, and we certainly want them to be a part of that process, but they couldn't take a personal day. It had to be a no-pay day. So what this language says is that a personal day may be granted to move a child to college, and then they're responsible for the learning and work of that day. So simple change that I think is good for our people. Another addition, middle school yearbook. We didn't have that position. It was just kind of absorbed into some other things, whereas in high school we had it separated out. So we separated it out at 4%. Language change number 6. This is something again, the blue is the change. We've had it in our contract that if a teacher we take them from their prep period to go cover a class, we pay them $22. If the class is longer than 42 minutes, we pay them $33. The reason for the change is when we put it in, it's when we had 82-minute blocks, and the number was 44. But we don't have 82-minute blocks anymore, so it doesn't need to be $44. It needs to be $33. And the last one, that didn't happen, so we don't need to worry about number 7. The one-time dollars did not occur.
Got a question. So we're going to 3.14% increase, and we're getting 2% from the state. Then we are going to bring down our unspent balance, correct?
Not in this case. Typically, yes, but we had 36 new students.
Okay.
So new students is what allowed us to move beyond just the 2%. These raises fall within our new money. All the raises we talk about today will fall in our new money.
But I thought we had I thought we were working towards lowering that unspent balance, or am I not correct?
Not yet.
Not reoccurring, I guess.
Yeah. This won't eat at unspent balance.
Yep.
We'll look at that, maybe next year, probably the year down the road. We still, have that big count for this year, so that's the money for next year. We still feel good about where our balance is right now. We would probably forecast that it's going to go up again next year, and then we have to look at spending that down. But
Can you stipend people with that money, just a one-time stipend?
you could. I would caution at this time, because we know that we're looking to overspend in a few years down the road.
On number 4, Joe,
Yep.
I'm trying to kind of understand the language there. So if I'm reading this right, it basically says we're not going to allow a personal day to be taken during professional development for any kind of activity or graduation.
Yeah,
That's how I'm reading it?
That is what the
Okay.
language says.
So we're adding in blue that we are going to allow that
For that.
specifically to move a child to college. Is there any addition, how often are we running, to not allow them to take a personal day to go watch their child graduate?
I think there's some verbiage missing up there, because the
The
way that reads,
They
you
can
cannot
go.
use it on those days for graduation and stuff, the way that reads.
Yeah, I might not have taken some, because I just kind of pulled some pieces out to reflect where it would fit in. The example you just gave of going to see your child graduation is an exception.
That we allow?
We allow.
Okay.
It's
so
still
it's-
like individual based, what's happening.
Yeah.
I know you follow the letter of the law, but it's like,
Well,
they can still approach you and be like, can I take a personal day
They
for
can.
this reason? And you can.
And that's why this was my idea to add this language, because I don't want language to prohibit me from doing something that we should do for people. So I went to them and said, let's create language that gives me flexibility to do that. We already had the graduation piece in there.
Okay, so
And actually, the graduation
got it.
piece extends not just to child, too. It goes a little bit
Yeah,
further.
children, siblings, grandchildren.
Yeah.
Okay, I was reading it that we aren't allowing
Yeah.
that. So we do allow that,
We do.
but not to attend Algona Community School District activities, which
It
involve.
should be to attend. Personal leave is not available during a workshop or parent-teacher conference.
I don't even see the word activities in the actual contract.
To attend any.
They do have that.
Because if your child goes to state wrestling, you're able to.
For example.
Take a personal day.
I think
The
there's
Drake
just some words.
relays.
State track is another place that could possibly happen.
It says,
Okay.
however, an employee may take personal leave on these days to attend any Algona Community School District activity which involves their immediate family defined as child.
Okay.
And it's just on workshop days. We're not saying you can't take it, it's just it falls on PE day.
Yeah,
That's
got
it.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that clears up.
Yeah.
Do we believe we have it right?
I do.
Everybody understands
It's right
it's
in
clear?
From there,
Okay.
This was me pulling from the contract. which
Yep,
I must
that's
not
good.
have done
Mhm.
well.
All right.
Well, I make a motion to approve the contract changes for FY '26.
Thank you, Andrew. Do we have a second?
Second for motion.
Thanks, Don. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Contract's approved. Or, yeah. All right, we're going to move into the associates agreement,
Yep,
right?
this is our second agreement with our Algona Educational Services Association agreement. This is our special ed associates. The proposal was for teacher associates, included an increase in their hiring base. So increasing the hiring base from $13.70 to $14.50. That would also include anyone who wasn't making $14.50 after the raise to go to $14.50. Also included is a raise of 53 cents per hour for all current teacher associates. So 53 cents for everyone. A section will be added to compensate associates working with a level 2 special education student, so they'll get an additional 25 cents per year if they work with a level 2 student. If they work with a level 3 student, they would get an additional 50 cents per hour for that year. Annual determination recalculated each fall. That contract's 5-year contract starting July 1, 2025. This is also a 3.1% increase for our teacher associates.
I'm curious, Joe, with our teacher associates, are they participating in professional development and doing some additional training and that kind of stuff as well? I know we talked about this a while ago.
Most of the time?
Most of the time.
Yeah. I would say the pre-service before school for sure. It's not always on our Monday PDs. They always have the opportunity to come. Their contract does not require them to come.
And they're compensated if they come?
If they come, they
Yes,
are
that's what I thought.
compensated, yes, yes.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, do we need a motion to approve the associates agreement?
So moved.
Thanks, Lanny. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Todd. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Associates agreement approved. And now we're looking to approve all wages for staff not covered under a master contract.
All wages for staff not covered under either of those collective bargaining agreements. Recommend a 3.1% salary increase. Those employees include building principals and administration, Jared Cecil, James Roeder, Rudy Week, Jill Schucher, Brad Sudol, Janie Eischen, and John Heiser. Also Lisa Chapman, Jed Freeberg, Tyler Lighting, Nick Lane, Jeff Gish, Jill Nelson, and all custodial and food services employed by the Algona Community School District, all bus drivers, and all secretaries and employees that are on the Mitchell system, which would be Danelle Van Gorkum, Stephanie Keeker, Megan Tuttle, Aaron Keeker, Vicki Steenhook, Maria Bradley, Laura Stevenson, Lakea Schucher, Karen Sankey, and Liz Bradley. This 3.1% aligns with the teacher salary and teacher associate salary increase.
Now, salary or package?
The salary, yeah.
Salary,
Yep.
okay.
So it's going to be a little higher than 3.1 at the end with FICA, I presume?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's more than what the teachers are getting?
It's 3.1, yes, yes it is.
Teachers equal 3.14, but pretty.
Well, but the teachers is.
Teachers is
includes the
total.
Total, yeah, that's what I mean.
This is
Total.
3.1
This is
of their
strictly
salary.
salary.
Yeah.
So FICA, IPERS is on top of this.
All right.
I'm fine with it, but we've always matched in the past, so what was?
This is how we've always done it in the past.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
A motion to approve.
thank you, Brent. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Lanny. We have a motion and a second. And any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries for all others not covered by master contracts. Looks like we have a bus bid to look at.
Yep, Nick Lane, Transportation Director, requested 3 bids for an 84-passenger Type D FE school bus. 2 bids were received, one from Bluebird Sales at $199,000 and one from Truck Sales at $191,000. Mr. Lane does recommend the board accept the Bluebird sale of $199,000 as the Truck Center sales does not meet the specifications we requested, such as with suspension, rear axle weight, alternator, engine horsepower, a number of things.
I make a motion to approve the Bluebird sale at $199,134.
Thanks, Andrea. Do we have a second?
Second the motion.
Thanks, Tom. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
How does that compare to the last bus we bought?
That was 190-ish, so very comparable. These are always out. We would expect delivery January 26. We received one this fall that we approved, not the May before, but the May before that. So pretty comparable. They shot up really fast after 2020. It's bouncing out a lot now, but they're very expensive.
And all the buses we buy are 84 passenger now?
We have all bought 84 passenger. Nick did a lot of research on size that we need, specs, air conditioning, some of those things. I think we'll get to a point we don't always need an 84 capacity. for what we have to replace this time, he felt best for this. But he did a lot of work to make sure we're not just purchasing that big one, but we're getting what we need.
Yes.
I guess I don't even know what the difference would be between a 70 or an 80.
From the 84, it goes to, I think it's 65, which would be
Okay.
kind of a traditional not stub nose.
Mhm.
And that, when we say 65, that's 3 in a seat, just like 84 is 3 in a seat. You know, we don't ever put 84 people on one of these school buses. You know, it's probably closer to 60 maxed out.
All right, any more discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bus bid approved. Approve the audit for 2024.
You know, the audit's attached, very lengthy, but I'll review some of the findings. There's really 4 main pieces. First thing, our certified budget, it was noted that the district needs to file an amendment prior to the district exceeding the budget. If you remember back, we did amend our budget to increase it, which we'll also do this year, and that's a typical practice. But the date that we amended it was post when it went over. You know, it's a timing thing, so we have to make sure that we amend it prior to that happening. Second, certified enrollment, there were variances. Enrollment was overstated by 3. Again, that's something that variance one way or another. I think the year before it was understated, but so those corrections have already been made by the Department of Ed. The third is the district adopted a depository resolution to increase how much we have in the bank, but we have to do it before we exceed the limit. So that correction's already been made. And then the last is the interest account in the student activity fund must be cleared out prior to June 30th, and then the funds used for students. So that correction has also been made. These are pretty small findings in the audit overall. None of those are a big deal. We have resolved segregation of duties, which was in our audit for a number of years. We've been able to resolve that and no longer appears in our audit.
On the student activity fund one, is that just something best practice every year?
I normally do, I just forgot.
Oh. Easy peasy.
I missed it this year.
So is this something like they look until they find something?
Oh, that's what-
Is there ever a perfect audit? I mean, is there
I
ever?
don't think so. You know,
I'll take little things though.
Yeah, I think he's gonna make sure he finds 4 things to put down for us. And certainly there could be a lot more than 4, but when an audit looks good like ours does, he's gonna find 4 things to put down.
Well, and it seems like it's gotten, at least since I've been on the board, shorter and shorter and shorter,
Yeah.
and
Not much to this at all.
Kudos to you too,
All
Lisa,
4 of these things
work you're doing.
were done. It's a timing thing of days when they occurred.
There's 4 more that he found this year that he's just waiting for next year?
Yeah, probably, right.
Did our lunch one didn't make the, or did you just not put it on here? Because normally our,
It had a single audit. No, wait. Yeah, it did have a single audit, but there wasn't any funding on it.
Yeah, yeah, we're good.
Doesn't mean we don't have originated balance.
Yeah, we still
I
have.
mean, balance, but yeah.
I make a motion to approve the audit.
Thanks, Todd. Do we have a
I'll
second?
second.
Thanks, Jay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Thank you for all your work, good work, Lisa. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve some open enrollments we see in front of us.
We have 7 open enroll outs. All of those have met requirements. They're all kindergarten students. So actually the deadline of March 1st does not apply to a kindergarten student. Their deadline is September 1st.
Do you know, are a lot of these clear on the east end of the
They're all
Burn
Westlake
district?
kids, except one.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where they live, but they're all way over there. None of them attended school here or preschool here.
And some have siblings that go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Or they
all
might
show
work
up
that way.
They show up as a chunk. Again, this is some paperwork that Lisa's cleaned up, because there shouldn't be open enrollment paperwork until they're in kindergarten. So a chunk of them, this is how it should look, that you have a chunk at once. Sometimes that paperwork was pushed through prior to kindergarten, which isn't valid because there is no open enrollment prior to kindergarten.
Motion to approve open enrollments.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thanks, Brent.
I'll second.
Thanks, Todd. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Open enrollment's approved. Looking at some first reading to board policies, no action, but
Yep, first read, we'll recommend a change to 9052, the nicotine tobacco-free environment. There's a language revision that is recommended by the Iowa Association of School Boards that we can review in the second reads next month. The rest of those, no change needed or recommended by the Iowa Association of School Boards.
okay. Any questions? We'll move on to approve the student teaching agreement with Morningside University.
Yep, simply an agreement between Algona Schools and Morningside to provide instruction to our district while assigned as a student teacher. We did the same thing for Northwestern College last month, and I think you and I, previously, we have a multi-year group. So this is a great opportunity for us to have student teachers in our district. We also always hope that some of those people end up in our candidate pools, which they have in some cases. So I recommend the approval of the cooperative student teaching agreement.
So moved.
Thanks, Andrea. Do we have a second? I didn't catch the Okay, thanks, Brent. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Teaching agreement approved. Also an annual agreement, approve the equipment breakdown insurance.
This is the insurance we have on all electrical equipment, anything that plugs into the wall in the district except copy machines. Those are separated out, which is a better deal for us and has reduced our premium quite a bit. We pay this premium out of management rather than the general fund. The quote for this year is $64,119. Last year was $66,000. So what happened is we dropped some obsolete equipment off, which reduced our rate, which is a good thing. So I do recommend the renewal of $64,119.
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Jay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Lana. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So how often do we use this?
For our Chromebooks a lot. That's how all of our
It's
thousands of Chromebooks or more than that get serviced is through this.
And does it exceed this amount, or is it?
I don't know if it exceeds it.
It definitely moves the money into management instead of general.
Yeah, that's the
fund,
big
but
thing, is
we do use it.
the way we're allowed to pay this, it creates a general fund savings. If you don't have this, we would pay all those repairs out of general fund,
Yeah.
which would create that expense.
Good questions. We talk about that every year, kind of why we look at this.
Yeah.
Was it last year we took the copy machines out?
Yeah.
The year before, well, yeah, yeah. So
A
first
year or two ago?
without it, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else we can take out to reduce the premium,
I looked at
like
it.
the copy machines?
Copy machines is big, probably,
Yeah, the other things, not really.
Not any big tickets?
What about that clock?
Yeah, that's not.
It's not plugged in.
It's a couple minutes off, but yeah. All right, we have a motion and a second. I believe we did, didn't we, on this one? Yeah, all right, thank you. After the discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Equipment breakdown insurance approved. Looking at some change orders for the field house.
Yeah, and in these change orders, I included some additional information. Andrea asked the question, I don't know if it was last month or the last time we discussed change orders about the process. So I included some stuff in here, so it's all to get a picture of how this worked. The first one, column base cover, $1,574. This is work to cover there's some exposed bolts at column bases on the view deck. They will clean it up, safety thing, visually a good idea. The architect does recommend this addition. And I put that piece in there because no change order comes to us until it goes through our architect first. So you're going to see as we go through here, there's some that the architect has denied and doesn't approve, and those aren't things that I'll ask for your approval on. The second one is add block veneer to the exterior of the corridor, $669. The way the grade level worked out in this area, we have some plywood sheeting down low touching the dirt. This cost is to add additional concrete block to get the plywood above the ground. Something we need to do, and it's a fair price. The architect does recommend it. Plan height discrepancies. Additional wall panels needed to be ordered due to an error in our drawings. When I say "our," that would be the architect's drawings. Atura is still contending the actual cost, but Atura will cover that cost as it is an error in their drawings and their plans.
So in that case, we approve the change order and Atura pays for the change.
We're not going to do anything with that.
Okay.
That was just an example of me
Got it.
showing how
Got it.
some of this comes through. The screen panel cost, $9,840. That has been rejected. It appears that the subcontractor underbid their work. They're trying to recover some cost. That change order's been rejected, and the school shouldn't be concerned with this at this time. So the first two, column base cover and the block veneer, it's a little over $2,100 is what I'm recommending for approval tonight.
Change orders.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Brent was the motion.
Yep.
Thank you. I looked at Jay. I thought that's where I heard it. Andrea was the second. All right.
Is the wrestling room and weight room going to be done in a month and a half or 2 months?
I hope so. I guess that's the best. I wish I could give a better answer. I gave some frustration with our contractors last week. We have a meeting tomorrow to resolve their plan to resolve the frustrations I have. Currently, the weight room and wrestling room are sheetrocked, taped, mud, primed, maybe even painted. Installing ductwork right now to finish them up, so they're that close. But those rooms are going to be done. It's getting everything else done so we can be fire code approved to get into them. That I think is what I'm most worried about right now. My frustration is that we've had a lot of deadlines in place that we have not met. And that has to be completed for us to start the school year. That's what our meeting Wednesday, I should say, is to have a more detailed plan to make sure that we meet those deadlines coming up.
And then there's a move, and then there's some renovation to the current.
Yeah.
What's kind of the hope and a prayer to have those ready?
That was not part of the contract that would be done by
Okay,
substantial
okay.
completion, so, which I don't, they hope it is. That's why they want to get that part done earlier so they can get in to repurpose those areas. I don't know. I think that's wishful thinking to get that
Yeah,
done.
from what we've seen so far, it seems that way.
Yeah. We're still progressing. Sheetrocking's done, the ductwork going up is a big step so that they can paint everything. So once that's done, it's really finish work. Then you gotta get, in the field house part, you gotta get our wood floors in, you gotta get the track in, and some of those things, which they need to have the
Multi-month jobs.
yeah, the full HVAC units running to even bring the gym floor wood here, because it has to condition before they lay it. So there's some timing pieces that we just got to get to that point so it can happen.
Are we going to be able to use it at all during the 25-26 school year?
Oh, we need it to start the school year, so hopeful.
A month of putting hoops and nets and
We need it to start
dividers.
the school year, why? Because of
Well, we need
cost.
the wrestling room and the weight room to start the school year. We have class in the weight room all day long. Wrestling we would need for, I guess, wrestling practice, so I suppose there's
50
few
to
months.
60 students in the weight room right now, and it's not set up for that.
Yeah.
In the old weight room?
Whole weight room for classes.
4 out of our 5 high school periods have that. We're not equipped to have that.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second, so any further discussion? All in favor of the change orders, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Change orders approved. Looking at personnel, I'll approve some resignations.
Resignation, Nick Keeker from head boys wrestling coach, Brooke Fett, middle school cheer and high school basketball cheer, and Matt Stein from high school mock trial pending suitable replacement. The reason the pending's on those is because we have recommendations for the other two in this meeting.
Motion to approve resignations.
I'll second.
All right. Brent and Todd, thank you both. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resignations approved. Looking at contracts.
Recommend Mike Ford, 9-10 girls basketball coach, Devin Curry, Bertha Godfrey teacher, that replaces one of our retirees, Jill Hoke, Bertha Godfrey teacher associate, Megan O'Brien, Bryant teacher associate, Cody Alish and Brian Morgan as head boys wrestling coach, Michelle Penning, fall cheerleading, and Craig Larson, bus driver.
I make a motion to approve the contracts.
Thanks, Andrea. Do we have a second?
Second the motion.
Thanks, Tom. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Did Tanuk already resign?
Yeah.
He did, yeah, with his retirement. yeah.
Good question. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Contracts approved. All right, I thank everybody for good movement tonight. I get to make a second grade concert by 7, so that works out really well. We need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks. Brent, do we have a second?
I'll second.
I'll go with
We can duke
Lanny.
it out, I don't care.
We'll go with Lanny, and we are adjourned.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, thank you all.